this life is gonna eat you up, spit you out. And in 5 years, like I said, there's gonna be another generation of them coming in, going to jail. The same thing. It's this gang stuff is just a rerun, and unfortunately, we haven't figured out to get out of that game.
Nicholas Rosenberg here, Punching Back Podcast. We're here in downtown LA Arts District. Today, we've got none other than American Cholo.
What's up, Rosenberg? How you doing, player?
I'm good. Okay, so where did you grow up?
I grew up in the city of North Hollywood, man. I went there, or I arrived there. I was born originally in Honduras. I came here in 81 and never left. I still live in the city. I went to, elementary school there, got kicked out of junior high and all that stuff, but I bought a home in the city with my wife, and I'm rooted in my city still.
Now, when you say you got kicked out of junior high, tell me about that.
Oh, that was in the late 80s, joined the local street gang out there, one of many. And it was just after I joined the hood, it was, one fight after another. You go from one junior high, go to another one, they kick you out of that one. At the end of my, let's say, educational time, it was, I think I went to high school for maybe 35 days.
Wow.
And then after that, it was done. They kicked me out of the whole LA school district, and I never went back to school after that.
So what about continuation?
After they kicked me out of that high school, first day in continuation, same thing. Got into a fight with some guy, and that was after that. They said, okay, you're getting kicked out of all the schools. You're getting kicked out of continuation. They actually had a meeting. It was a LA board meeting. It was probably I don't know, probably 8 members. It's been such a long time, I can't really remember. And my mom didn't show up. It was my brother. He was 18. He took me, and they pretty much said, okay, well, there's going to be two things that's going to come out to your brother. Either he's going to end up in jail for a long time, or he's going to end up dying, because I was on that pathway. I was a guy who joined the gang and thought that every enemy you see, you got to rush. Every opportunity you have to prove yourself, because that's what you're really trying to do. You're trying to prove yourself to the other peers, right? So they said, you're now kicked out of the LA school district, which they probably thought they were punishing me, but nah, bro. In reality, I was chilling now. I'm waking up at 10, 11 in the morning, getting my pants, ironing them up, getting my shirt. Because back then we really took time to get ready and get prepared to go out. It wasn't like nowadays where you have, and not all of them, you got a bunch of young kids who, the grimier you look, the dirtier you look, they think it's cool. You see kids walking to high school and junior high with PJs on, and the back of the PJs all dirty. No, our style was much different. It was much sharper. But my mom would come in the room every once in a while when she would be home, and she would tell me, man, they think they punished you? No, I'm just what do you want me to do? And after that, no, I never went back to school. I ended up catching a case in 91, and then I ended up going to the youth authority.
Wow. Okay, when did you get out? How old?
It depends. I got busted in 91. Then I went in for 92, got out in 93 for a few months, went back in 94, 95, got out in 96 for a few months, and then went back in. I was one of those guys constantly going in and out. I was, let's see how long this fool's gonna last, because I would come out here and the youth authority definitely made me a more sophisticated and more violent gang member. I went from being a gang member to eventually evolving to being a gang banger. And anybody from the streets knows what I'm talking about, because I used to think when I was young that everybody in the hood's put in work. Everybody's like a killer. And then as you get older, you start figuring out, no, man, the majority of these guys, some are gonna slang dope, some are out there looking for the girls, some are out there being the graffiti artists. Everybody has a role to play. And then there's those few that are out there getting a strap or whatever it is, and you're out there putting in work. And eventually I did climb up that ladder of the gang world, and at least in my neighborhood, where I was definitely one of the main guys out there putting in work. But when I got out in 99, so I gave my hood 10 solid years. I joined 89. I started walking away about 99. And when I mean I started walking away, it wasn't where I turned my back on the homies and don't talk to me. No, I still lived in the area, bro. And they would just come, what's up, fool? But I was like, nah, I'm good, bro. And they were like, what? That's it? I was like, yeah, that's it, bro. And now some of those same guys that I've told that to, I'm still sending them money in the joint. You know, some of those guys are doing life in prison and hopefully are getting a chance to get out. There's one specific friend of mine that I've known since elementary school that he's been in there for 20-something years. And hopefully in the next 2 years, he's got action of getting out. But I've seen what the crossroads are when you continue to go down that gang banging lifestyle, or you get a job and start doing right. You know, the harder you work in life, the more you put into it, the more you're gonna get back. And that's kind of what I try to show people out here on the platforms that I go on.
Now, tell me about your family life. You mentioned that your brother took you to one of those disciplinary interviews.
Yes. So my mom was not your typical mother. My mom was the neighborhood dope dealer. She was selling cocaine, right? My stepdad, same thing. My stepdad got killed in North Hollywood. It was at Speedy's Tacos. Now it's a sushi place now across right next to the North Hollywood swap meet. He got murdered over a drug deal gone bad. I was out on the streets when that happened. I was actually living in cars, living in homies like in their closets so their parents wouldn't see me. I was living on the streets. And my brother came and knocked on the window of my homie's house. He's like, hey, fool, they killed Cuco. I was just like, what? I said, yeah, bro. I hadn't seen my mom in weeks or maybe months. And I went back home, saw my mom, and she was broken, bro. And Cuco, we did the service. And that was like my relationship with my mom was, I think, compared to now, it could be, some people consider it kind of cold, but it wasn't. She was always instilling in us to be tough, to be men. She knew what the streets were like. So, like when the first time she found out I was in a gang, she told me, you in a gang? And I'm behind the car and I'm scared. I'm like 14 years old. I just got kicked out of another junior high school. And I said, yes. And she tells me, good, you got protection. I said, okay, then a few months as the hood progressed, we're at my pad, and my brother would always make us clean the guns every month or so, right? The homie's got a rifle, I got a 1 or 2 straps, like 4 or 5 of us, and she would rent a house for us in Lancaster, and she would have an apartment in North Hollywood, and she would slang her dope out of the apartment in North Hollywood, and then every once in a while she would walk in. It's her house. She's not gonna tell us, hey, I'm coming home today or anything. So this time she walked in on us, and we're all kind of panicked. We're all looking at her, and we got the guns there, and she goes, oh, good, you got protection, you got guns. Went into her room. That's how the lifestyle was with my mom, dude. But my mom took care of us, bro. She went and visited us, or myself, every time I was in YA. She'll go like once a month or whatnot. She'll make sure I got my packages. Like mom stepped up where my dad was never around for me. I remember my dad very briefly. He was an alcoholic, and when I mean alcoholic that's in the streets, living on the calles like that. And she instilled in us, I think it was a lot of toughness, a lot of resilience. Me and her would not get along as well because all the game that I got, my whole shtick is from her. So sometimes when you're two alike, you start beefing with one another. My brother was the one that got along with her much better. But no, man, I love my mom. Now me and my mom have the best relationship we've ever had in life. We can sit there and kind of, just reminisce on the craziness that we were. And she'll tell you, I know I wasn't your normal mom and this and that. But I was like, hey, man, you gave me birth and you brought me to America and you made me a citizen. And now that's probably one of the most important things out here.
What experiences in your childhood growing up shaped who you are today?
I think it was just being on the streets. It was tough. People sometimes see, because I don't take my shirt off, I don't show the tattoos, I don't show the scars. They expect somebody who says they're a cholo to act a certain way, be a certain way. Home's like, but I lived all that, bro, and it was tough. It was tough when I grew up. My brother was from a rival gang. A lot of the homies when I first got in the hood, they thought I was some kind of spy for the neighborhood. So, yeah, dude, I'm getting punked by the older guys. And when my neighborhood didn't really have older guys, but 3 or 4 years older, they're older too at that time. So I was a little runt hanging around with the older guys, but I had to really pay my dues. And after the first time getting out of YA, it was like, nah, you ain't punking me no more, bro. Because I don't care what anybody says. I've seen the toughest guys when they were younger getting punked. It's almost like a rite of passage. And either you're gonna step up to the plate and say, no, we're not doing this anymore. And I think that instilled in me a bit of toughness. I don't stay quiet. I'm a guy who's very straightforward. I'm the guy that if you're at a light, and I'm behind 3 cars and the car in the front ain't going, these jackasses ain't honking. I'm in the back honking like, fool, let's get this thing going. Like I'm very assertive, and I think the street life taught me that, because even back then, once I ranked up in the hood, I'm organizing meetings. Hey, let's get some money, let's buy some straps, let's do this. So I became very comfortable speaking around other people and being around other people, and I'm not the kind of guy who just shies away. And I think a lot of the street life was because of that.
Now, at what point did you realize that you had a voice that people would listen to?
I think it started just like when I would come out of jail the very first time. I had a little more swagger, I just came out doing some time in the youth authority, and to the homies out there, that's a big thing. But I think the main one was probably after like 1996 is when I was really in the hood and had a big voice. My homeboy Dusty, who was probably like around 4 or 5 years older than me, he tells me this a few years back. He's like, he called me Junior because some of the homies would call me Junior because I was a kid, bro. He's like, hey, Junior, you know what I trip out on? I said, what's up, Dusty Brown? He's like, back when you were fucking 20 years old, 19, 20 years old, you had guys 27, 28 years old looking up to you. Because I was at the meetings, and I'm not saying I was the main guy, but I was one of the guys. All right, fool, let's have this meeting. Let's start talking. Let's get it going. And I had guys that came out of prison. Our fucking older homies, they're there listening, bro. Like, so there was definitely some type of charisma, some type of acceptance in my hood, because I had been putting in work for the neighborhood for years now, and it wasn't something that where you did one highlight and now that's it. No, I was putting in work and I was going in and out of YA. So these guys were like, yeah, this was very dedicated. But I think that's when I found my voice in the hood.
What inspired you to start your podcast, American Cholo?
Oh man, long story short, man, they raided my house. They stole my phone. It had nothing to do with me. They did all kind of stuff. It was kind of police brutality. And I was just like, you know what? You want to know who I am? You want to know my story? Here's my story. My name is Gil. I am American Cholo. I grew up in the city of North Hollywood. I gangbanged in the city of North Hollywood. But now I'm a family man. I'm a husband. I'm a grandfather. I'm a business owner. I'm a homeowner. We can come from the hood, stay in the hood, and still be successful. And that's what I'm trying to show people. That's kind of what just kicked the whole thing off.
What does the name American Cholo mean to you personally?
Personally, it means that I lived that Cholo life. Like I said, 10 years, solid in the hood. I know what it's about. I know the ins and outs of the hood, but I've been living the American life for the last 25, 26 years, bro. And those are two things that are very, very close to my heart, because I don't hide the fact that I was a gang member. I don't hide the fact that I was this dirtbag. I don't hide the fact that I was a guy who people would say, oh, that guy needs to go to prison for the rest of his life, or that guy shouldn't be in this country. It shows you that you can come from that poverty, you can come from that struggle, and if you work hard and do the right thing, make the right decisions, which is not always easy, you can live that American dream, bro. And right now we have so many people in the hood that, they're on drugs, they're struggling this, and homies are looking at that, and damn, that's my future. And in my neighborhood, I got young homies walking by the studio, or when I go to the liquor store right there in the hood, hey, what's up, American Cholo? And they're little homies of mine, bro. I'm that guy they can see and say, wait a minute, dude, if Gil can make it out the hood, so can I. So to me, it's to give them hope that, you know what, you can be a Cholo, but play your cards right, bro. You can live the American dream, man. It's up to you to put in that work, though.
I wore red, white, and blue because of American Cholo today. Now, when you were first starting out your podcast, what were some challenges that you faced?
Nobody had ever done it. I mean, if you look at it as far as like what we were doing, it was something extremely new. It was taboo to see an essay having a platform talking about gang stuff. It was something that 10 years prior you wouldn't do. 20 years prior you might get killed for. You know, this is the reality of it. So it was just getting in front of the camera and speaking for the first time, you know, and seeing what it was. What I tell people is, if you're thinking about doing a podcast, if you're thinking about doing anything like that, get the camera, just start talking, and then give the link to every single person you know. And some people say, well, why? Because if you're too embarrassed to talk in front of people you know, you're going to be too embarrassed to talk to everybody else. So go ahead and get that out the way, because then after a while, it just becomes normal. Like all this now, it's not a big deal. It's just we're on camera, we're talking, people are going to see it, and some will criticize, some will agree. You know, it's like the internet's almost like WWE, man. We all have the ones we like. We got the ones that we consider the villains. We got the ones that we consider the heel, you know, all this stuff. But you got to have thick skin and not sweat stuff that people may say about you, people may make up about you. It's like if somebody's calling me a punk online, I don't got to respond to this guy. What am I going to respond to him and 1,000 other guys are going to say you're a punk? You know, like if you know you ain't a punk, then there's no reason. And that's one thing that I did have to learn was get that thick skin and not answer every single reply, because if not, behind that reply, there's 1,000 more. There's a million more that are going to keep coming.
Now, you've spoken about Latino representation. What changes have you seen over the last few years?
I think definitely people have gotten more savvy and more involved in politics just because of the climate of what's going on, which is a good thing. But the major representation, you still don't see it. I mean, if you look at a lot of these mainstream medias, whether it's Fox, CNN, MSNBC, when it comes to Latino issues, like right now, of course, immigration is one that's huge, right? If you look at Latino issues, there's really not many Latinos in those rooms having that conversation. It's either going to be white people or some brothers and sisters talking about Latino issues. It seems like they can't convey the message correctly. At least that's my opinion. Like when it comes to immigration, you'll get a lot of Latinos in there that are just going to sit there and say, oh, stolen land, you know, there's no illegal people. That doesn't work in America. You have to come up with a different message which says, hey, man, we will deport like criminals. We will deport, you know, this and that. But don't go out and harass people who are out there just working and making a living. There's got to be a balance. And you don't really see that balance because it's so easy just to sit there and say that and say, oh, let everybody in. No, it doesn't work like that. No business will be successful working that way. But that's what I see a lack of. I see a lot of finger pointing. I see a lot of you know, it's your fault. You did this, your fault. Then I'm like, politics have been going on for hundreds of years, bro. You know, and especially the people who like the ones that I get a kick out of the most, Rosenberg, are the ones that never vote. And they're telling me, it's your fault. I said, all right, man, before we have this conversation, who'd you vote for? Oh, well, I didn't vote. So, well, how easy is that, bro? You never picked a side, and all of a sudden you're going to criticize me for picking a side, but you didn't have the guts to pick a side. Talk to me when you pick a side, because if that's the case, I'll never vote again. That way I'll always be correct.
Gotcha. Now, American Cholo, do you see it as entertainment, education, activism?
Everything. You got to sell it all. If it was just where the political the political topics were the ones that were just, you know, getting all the people to watch this and that, I would stick on that. But that's just not the way it works, man. People want entertainment, bro. People want to see different stuff. Unfortunately, you know, the crazier, more fucking stuff that you talk out there, the more views you're gonna get. So you have to keep it different. You know, some people say, hey, why you got gang members over there? I said, because that's the whole point. I said, we got gang members. We're trying to teach them to change their ways. And then we'll have political people. And then we've had the district attorney on there. We've had Chad Bianco on there. We've had other political people on there. Well, why do you have those guys on there? Because this is a whole different part of it. Like with me, I like to say that I bring the streets to America and America to the streets. That way they can both see the sides of it and kind of relate to one another, because there's a very lack of communication on both sides of that. And I think what we do, we provide a service where, one, we'll give you our opinions politically. Two, we'll let you call in and give your opinions politically. Three, we'll bring other politicians who may not agree with you exactly, but I'm going to ask them questions that pertain a lot to Latino community where they don't get it on other platforms.
What are some of the more controversial or impactful interviews you've done so far?
I think the ones that people like and don't like would be like Nathan Hochman, district attorney of Los Angeles, right? And people will be like, "How are you a former gang member talking to a police?" It's not. I said, because they're part of the whole thing, bro. You know, they're part of the system that will help your family from getting their house burglarized. They're the part of the system that's trying to stop people from going to these stores and, you know, just stealing all kind of stuff. It's like I said, it's easy to take the side of the streets. It's easy to take the sides of the gang life and just be like, "Oh man, you know, let everybody do what they want, free the homie this, free the homie that." No, there's consequences, bro. And one thing in the gang life, you learn very quickly, there's rules to this shit. And there's rules to America as well. So to me, I really like bringing those politicians in, and I hopefully, you know, by the end of next year, I'll try to bring some more in there. And wouldn't that be great? Now we have a sitting district attorney that was on the platform. Now let's see if we can have somebody who becomes governor of California be on the American Cholo platform. That'll be something where other politicians are going to say, "Damn, dude, we got to go over there to tap into the Latino community," and that's what we're trying to do.
What are some artists, leaders, or voices that you think deserve more spotlight?
Artists, leaders, or voices. I think you're kind of getting them right now, but I'm not sure about quite artists. The one that right now that's making noise and I like, and at the same time I feel a certain way, is the one with Snow the Product right now, right?
Okay.
All right, Snow the Product. She did the Theos song, right? And I was like, "Damn, she's talking about me, bro." Right? She's talking about me, right? And when I hear all that, I get it. I get the frustration, and that's what's going on especially with the young Latinos. And it's easy to sit there and say, "Well, it's your fault, Gil." And I'm not saying she's saying directly, but she's kind of giving a thing for anybody who voted that way, right? And to me, it's all fine and dandy, but at what point do we stop just pointing a finger, saying it's your fault, and say, what are we gonna do about it? That's why I made a video about 4 months ago. All right, it's all my fault. Now what? Oh, it's your fault. Okay, it's my fault. Now what? And what seems to happen from a lot of these young people out there is trying to point the finger. What are you doing about it? And I'll call out Snow and anybody else who feels that way. What about the Dodgers, homie? All those people in the video, the majority, I guarantee you, are Dodger fans, right? Mark Walter, I believe, is the CEO. He has stake. His company has little stake in Alcatraz Island and private prisons that are housing illegal immigrants that they're picking up, right? So you guys want to point the finger at the Theos and everybody else, but when it comes to the Dodgers, crickets, bro. Crickets. They will not say anything. And these guys literally have money in locking people up. So to me, I almost feel like a pessimist, bro. I don't see the unity. I don't see any kind of boycotts really going to work, because everybody, the last protest, "Oh, this is the revolution." Revolutions ain't 2 weeks, player. I hate to break the news to you. Revolution takes years. It takes sacrifices. I've been telling people they need to just have a national boycott where, hey, Latinos don't go to work for 3 days, a week, and then they start saying, "Oh, well, they can't afford to do that." Well, when you're getting picked up and getting arrested and taken to another country, guess what? For the rest of your life, you're not working anymore. So if we really cared and really wanted to get something done, we would stop just pointing the finger and saying, "It's your fault. It's your fault." Okay, it's my fault. Again, now what? It would have been like, imagine when the Pilgrims first came here, and the same thing happened. The Native Americans, "Oh, will you let them in? Well, how many hundreds of years are you gonna keep saying you let them in? All the while you're still fighting one another. They're still doing what they want, because right now, ICE is doing what they want. All they're getting is a bullhorn. ICE, leave, ICE. And I'm looking at this like, what does that do? It's not doing anything. If you guys haven't figured this out, it's not doing anything. They get that video and they're using it on their platform. for views. As far as ICE posted that stuff and they love it. And there's a lot of people in America that love it. I don't. I think that it's wrong. You had Joe Rogan post about it that that he thought they were going after the gangbangers. He thought they were going after the criminals. He thought they were going after the rapists, the murderers, not after the guy that's cutting somebody's lawn. And what do? They start bashing Joe. Oh, well, dude, this is one of the biggest podcasts in the United States. Instead of trying to bash this guy now, have him help you push that message out there. But unfortunately, with us, it's much easier to fight one another. And that's what's been going on with us for years. I've been speaking about immigration since I started this platform about 8 years ago. Some of these people just started speaking about it because of this. To me, this ain't nothing. No, I work construction. I work around Mexicanos all day long, Central Americans all day long. I've been working construction for 26 years. So I know how important immigration is. But just because you vote in a certain way, you can't blame everything as, oh, you did that. It would be like anybody who voted for Biden or Kamala Harris. I mean, you voted for 10 million illegal people to come in here. You voted for all the Venezuelans to get free hotels in New York and get $2,000 of money every. No, you didn't vote for that. Only because you vote for you doesn't mean you vote for every single thing they do. And another thing, I am not just a blind supporter. No, I've been criticizing this administration from the gate because there's a lot of stuff that I don't like. Epstein being one of them, stuff like that. But you voted. No, I did not, bro. But that's just the way it is.
What is one thing that people misunderstand about you?
I think sometimes they see an arrogance. They see, they see the guy that's on the camera all the time. They don't see the guy that the homie calls up and, hey Gil, I'm gonna get a job. You think you can hook me up with a set of bags? I'm like, yeah, come through, fool. I'll do that. They don't see that I'm the guy that behind the scenes calls my homies over, clean the studio. Like I'm trying to keep some of these guys busy, some of these guys working. They don't see that I'm a grandfather, bro. That I'm a husband. That I'm the foreman on the job. That I wear many hats, but that's why I can sit there and talk to this. I can talk to somebody who's just came out the joint, doing so many years or on the streets getting high. I could talk to a businessman. I could talk to an attorney like you and hold my conversation. But maybe I just don't come off as sympathetic sometimes as they may be, but that's just the way I was programmed, bro. But to think that I don't care, I'm putting my face out there. I'm putting my character out there to be criticized, to be made fun of, to make up stories about me. I mean, you name it, bro. I've gone through it, right? But I do this because I care, because I'm trying to show people, hey, we can communicate with one another. And I think that's one thing that we as Latinos, we fall very short of, bro, of communication. We're very quick to want to argue and fight and not have that discussion like with like I said, like with Snow. Well, let's have that conversation then. Let's see what you're talking about politics wise. But a lot of it is no, it's just free the people. It's not okay. Well, there's a process to this. You don't just sit there and go to Congress and say free the people. What does that mean? What does that mean? We need to sit there and elevate the conversation, brother. And that's what I think we're doing on our platform.
Outside of podcasting, what keeps you grounded?
My wife.
Okay.
My wife, bro. My wife, without a doubt, is an integral part of who I am now. If it wasn't for my wife, God knows where I would be. She's the one, and I think any man who has a good wife knows that we all need that oreja. Like, what are you doing, bro? Like, when I be going through shit on YouTube, she's like, why do you bring this drama? Like, she's the one. She's like, you ain't got no real friends. Your friends would have told you stop doing that shit. She's definitely the one that keeps me grounded, and I think vice versa, bro. We got a damn good relationship, but that was something that, like everything else, took years to build. It's not easy. We sometimes get into an arguments. Who doesn't? But I would definitely say she is a huge part of keeping me grounded in who I am.
How do you deal with the criticism and the controversy?
If I know it ain't true, I don't care. It's simple as that, because people send me stuff. Hey, this person said this. I don't care, bro. Like, oh, this will say you're a punk. I don't care, bro. Like, That's internet. Like I said, that's WWE. It is. Do you think that you got these big streaming? Are they gonna have all time to go through those? No, if you find yourself going through all these, you're going down a rabbit hole. I've been there. I've been there. You're stressed out. You're for what? Now I see it. I laugh, bro. Keep it pushing. I'm not worried about it. Like I said, that's like somebody saying, "Man, you're gay. I know you're gay." Not saying like, I know I'm not. Do I really have to respond to you? Oh, you're a punk. I know I'm not. Do I really? Do I? In other words, you want me to prove to you on the internet that, nah, I'm good, bro. I've gone down that route, and that was the route of gangbanging. Oh, this and that. But now I was like, nah, bro. I'm a grown ass man, and when I say that, I mean that wholeheartedly. I paid my bills. I got my house. I got my truck. I got my job. I got my responsibilities, and as a man, I take care of them. It's like somebody telling me, Gil, you're a deadbeat dad. You're this. No, I'm not, but I don't have to prove it to you. So that's why when you know it's not true, you don't worry about it. You just keep it pushing.
Where do you see American Cholo in the next 5 years?
Well, hopefully, let's say goal wise, like I said, I would love to be able to have a governor in there speaking. I would love to be able to hit some of these larger platforms and go there and give my opinions on politics. You know, I did, which one was that? California Insider a few years back. It was a real good one, but those guys, they keep getting their platform knocked down. But I want to hit some more platforms like that. That's my end goal, I would say. But it all depends. I mean, it could be something where in 5 years it may be gone, but to me, it's all right because I think we left the mark on politics, on podcasting in general, and especially in LA. We're definitely one of the pioneers in this stuff out here.
Now, would you ever expand into TV or film or any other formats?
Oh, of course, yeah. If the opportunity was there, of course. The thing is that politics is a tough one. If you don't agree one way or another, this is my problem with it. It's almost where you have to pick a side. You're either going to be a Republican or you're going to be a Democrat because those are the two big hoods in the political realm. I'm independent. I will sit there and criticize both, but that doesn't always work. So it's almost like you got to sell your soul in order to get on one of those larger platforms. And me, I don't need it. Like I don't need the podcasting game. It's not a moneymaker for me. To me, it's just something for the community to be able to speak, but it's also giving me opportunities to give back to the hood. You know, like 3 weeks ago, we partnered up with the Victory Outreach, Champions and Services, and people out in the community. And a couple of my homies went over there, and people donated. Homie from Pacoima Van Nuys boys pulled up. Like other people gave out a few hundred backpacks to the kids with with school supplies and all that. For Thanksgiving, we're gonna give out the turkeys in my hood, and this is in the heart of my neighborhood, bro. Where I used to run up and down the streets with straps and just be a fool, and now I got homies again that are older than me that look at me like, "Hey, fool, you really doing this shit, huh?" I got homies calling me from the joint, like, "Hey, fool, you out there doing it?" I said, "Yeah, fool, we giving back to the hood." And I've seen grown ass homies of mine like with tears in their eyes, like, "Hey, fool, this shit's crazy. I love this." So it's again, we're helping change the narrative of who we are in the hood and what we're doing. Because before I would just I would terrorize my neighborhood, and now I'm the guy that gives back to the neighborhood.
What legacy would you like to leave for the community?
I think I would like to leave a legacy that says you can come from here, you can be the worst of the worst, but if you really want to, change your life, have faith in God, bro, you can be the family man. You can buy a house in the hood. Like when my wife and I were looking for houses, we were going San Fernando, Van Nuys, Mission Hills, this and that. And then we happened to find the one we're at now. And even at first, I was a little sketchy just because of different hoods, right? And then at the end, we had the conversation. We're like, wait a minute, man. If we're going to live in any neighborhood, we might as well live in our own. Because anywhere in LA you're going to move to, unless it's like Hidden Hills or something where it's real rich, you're going to live in somebody's neighborhood or a pocket of somebody's neighborhood. So we stayed there. And now, like I said, a lot of people that will say stuff like, defund the police, and stuff like that, are the same people that live in private communities. They're the same people that don't need police protection because they live in a much nicer neighborhood. Our neighborhood, no, bro, it gets grimy, and you definitely want people out there patrolling and keeping it clean and all that. So to me, I think that gives me much more of a right to talk and say the things I do, because when people, and I haven't heard in a minute, but when I first started, you would hear this a lot. Fool, you forgot where you came from. Fool, you forgot where you came from. I'm like, fool, I'm still in North Hollywood, homie. What the fuck you talking about? And then they'll be like, oh shit, this fool still lives over in his neighborhood. Yeah, fool, I forgot where I came from. I'm still here. Fool, where you at, Playboy? And then, oh, you're bragging about living in your neighborhood. Like, that's a big, yeah, that is a big, to me, it's a big accomplishment. Maybe not to you, but to me, it's a big accomplishment that, yeah, I put roots back in North Hollywood. Because why? Because I want the city to be a better place, bro. We always talk about the hood, the hood. Ain't nobody own an apartment in the hood. Ain't nobody own anything. I see around my neighborhood, around my studios, a bunch of new apartments. You see the gang graffiti. You see my hood, other guys crossing each other out. And I look at it, and it's right in front of new buildings. I'm like, damn, these fools are acting like these are their apartments. You don't own this stuff, homie. You guys are just passing through. In the next 5 years, there'll be another group of young guys passing through. In the next 5 years, there'll be another group of young guys passing through. My homeboy Caps, he got out of doing about 24 years. Married, doing right, living his life. I saw him at the park when we were giving out the backpacks, and he was like, hey, what are those? Those are all the little homies? There was a bunch of little youngsters. I said, yeah, for the little homies, fool. So what are you telling them? They didn't recognize you? Fool? They say, yeah. And he starts laughing because we it's like an inside joke between us, like, damn, homie, you went and did 24 years, and it's for nothing, bro. It was for nothing. He knows it, and it's not a disrespectful thing. It's like a learning thing. He's like, yeah, fool. He's like, you think those fools know you? He's like, well, those fools don't fucking know who I am. They don't even care. And that's how it is in the hood. Every 5 to 10 years, you get a new generation of guys. They don't know the next generation. They might meet them in jail later on. But as far as the hood giving you back, nah, it's gonna give you back misery, bro. It's gonna give you a lot of pain. It's gonna cause destruction in your life. Anybody who's hanging around, and the minute you get jumped into the hood, you make that commitment, bro, your life has completely changed for the negative. And hopefully, sooner than later, you'll figure that out. But to me, I'm trying to keep guys away from that route. I'm trying to give the message to young guys that you don't gotta do this. We've got the internet now where we can see other neighborhoods. When I was young, no, you maybe see them on Teen Angel. If you're talking about somebody in Boyle Heights, that could be clear across the way. You're talking about somebody in Long Beach, that could be a whole different world, because we're driving the RTD bus and all that stuff. But now you can look online. Every hood's the same, homie. Like Ice Cube said, every hood's the same, carnal. You see it. They all got the jokester. They all got the tough guy. They all got this. All it is, it's a different placazo on the wall, homie. But it's the same hood, homie. I know young guys say, nah, if those guys ain't, fool, you're gonna get busted. You're gonna be right there with the same fucking guys, homie. But every hood's the same. But unfortunately, like I said, our communication's not that well. Everybody wants to be el más chingón. Well, there's a price to pay for that más chingón, homie. And you'll pay it. And some people wake up early enough where the light bulb goes off. Mine went off when I was like 20-something. Some guys' light bulb don't go off till 40 or 50 years old, bro. By that time, you can still get a productive life, but you're so far behind the ball in the game of life. So I'm trying to get these guys to get ahead of it and start working, take care of business, bro. If those are really your homies, and you say, hey, bro, I'm gonna get a job, I'm gonna start doing this, they're gonna be good for you, homie. Good shit. If they're not your homies, they're gonna say, oh, you a punk, you this, you that. Those ain't your friends, homie. There's a huge difference between your friends and your homies. And some people don't know that. Friends, I might have 5 in my whole life, bro. 5, maybe, friends. Homies, I got hundreds of homies. I got homies for days. But friends, now, that's something that comes very far.
So do you keep your circle small on purpose?
I just don't need no new friends. Like, straight up, I've been doing it this long. Like, we'll get together, like, with the homies. Last year, we threw our first, no, actually, it was a second annual. We did one at the park where we finally got together as a hood, but it was not for a funeral. And that was the whole point of that. And we're going to be doing that in the next few weeks again. So we've made it a tradition in my neighborhood, and I was definitely one of the main guys who facilitated that, because I've been saying, hey guys, every time we go to the funeral, oh man, we gotta get together more often, and we never do. So now we've made it a thing where we get together, older guys, younger guys, and show that love for one another that originally was there in the hood. Because as we got older, politics came into play. drugs come into play, addiction comes into play, and for many years, like many hoods, you start losing that bond with one another, and it's just it becomes more like people just hating on one another, talking shit. But I think we're breaking that cycle, bro. We're trying to show that, hey, man, it's like getting together with some old combat vets, and that's what it is. And you can see guys that haven't seen each other in 20 years. As soon as they see each other, boom, they hit it off, and they're back to reminiscing when we were young. But most of the guys that go to these events that we go to, family man, married, doing the things. Are some still in the streets? Yeah, some are still in the streets, but the majority of us, we're doing our thing, bro. We're trying to break that cycle from keeping the same kids coming in and out. And it's not like when we were young. When I was young, I seen a lot of like family related gangs, aunt, mom, this and that. They were gang, and then it became gang members. But nowadays, especially my family, in my wife's family is very big. Mine's is not. Yeah, that cycle's broken, bro. My nephews are not gang members. My nieces are not gang members, and that's something that I'm extremely proud of, bro. You know, I mean, I like all the time how they dress and all that, but I'm just an old geezer, talking shit to 'em. But nah, dude, I'm very proud to say that we, for the most part, have broken that gang cycle, and that's a huge thing in my family.
What advice would you give to the youngsters who want to follow in your footsteps?
Well, if you're already in the game, you joined the hood. I'm not gonna sit here and be a fool and think that I can just tell them, "Hey, just walk away." No, it don't work that way, homie. You walked into that door already. You walked into that room. My advice to the youngsters that are doing that: don't get on that dope, fool. That dope's gonna destroy you. That dope is gonna destroy you. When I say dope, I'm talking about meth. I'm talking about carga. I'm talking about that real. I mean, you're gonna smoke what you're gonna drink, homie. That's just off the top, right? It just comes with it. But if anybody's offering you meth, that ain't your homie. That ain't your homie. That ain't your friend. Even when I see youngsters out there, I tell them that, fool, like, don't get high, fool. Whatever you do, because I have seen the destruction that meth has done to my neighborhood and many other neighborhoods, bro. It takes you completely out of your character. It'll make you a tweaker, bro. I mean, you see nowadays, unfortunately, especially in North Hollywood, we have so many of the tiny homes. We have so many different guys from different areas because we've got the metro over there. And the gangster nowadays, the gangster back in the days when I was young, was the guy like it was me, all creased up, clean on the block, looking. Nowadays, the gangster out there a lot of times is in a fucking tent, bro, getting high, and they don't see anything wrong with that, and that's a problem. The la vergüenza is not there before. We used to have shame. We used to be ashamed of that. Like if a homie came out, nah, like, hey, fool, go clean yourself up. Nowadays, you got guys bragging about living in the tents, and to me, that all comes from drug addiction. The majority of that is drug addiction. So to me, is at the very least, homie, stay off the dope. And another thing these kids are doing that is destroying their gang lives because they're videotaping everything.
Right.
They're recording everything, bro. I had a conversation with a homicide detective a few months ago. My niece invited her to one of her son's birthday parties because he's the one that investigated and convicted a guy who murdered my sister-in-law a few years back, right? So he's a close friend with the girls. And I was talking to him, and he was saying, and he knows about the podcast, everything, it is. And he's like, "Hey, Gil," he's like, "What's wrong with these guys nowadays?" I was, "What do you mean?" He's like, "Man, it's boring." I said, "What's boring?" He said, "My job." I said, "Why?" He said, "Before there was a homicide, we're out there driving, knocking on doors, we're doing the hustle." It's like, "No, for all we do now is we fucking go on the internet, and everything's there." And he said, the young guys, and we used to laugh at them. We used to say, "Oh, you guys are tripping. You guys ain't watching these podcasts." He said, all the young detectives, all the young cops, they're watching podcasts. That's what they do. They watch the podcast to see who's beefing with who. And then if someone from X gang killed somebody, they just go on their social media. They just go on their stories. And it's like, and these jackasses think that because it's gone out of the story, it doesn't exist anymore. No, we get warrants. We're watching everything. And at the end, okay, here's a timeline. Look, you were on this block at this time. Look, the shooting happened. It's made it so easy for the police officers. And to me, first of all, you shouldn't be out there murdering, doing all that stuff. But that comes with the gang life, bro. Unfortunately, right? But what these young guys are doing, they think they're doing it for the gram and cool. They're gonna wake up in the joint when they're 35 years old with another 20 years left. Because why? Because I fucking thought it was cool to record it. So to me, the drugs and the phones, which it's easy for me to say, but unfortunately, most guys will hear this and say, that fool don't know what he's talking about. But when you're over there looking for Rosenberg to try to get you less than 30 years, then you're gonna know what I'm talking about is true, bro. So I'm talking from experience. I'm not talking from a book that I read or a YouTube thing that I know. I'm talking from real life experience. I've said this before, Rosenberg. I'm telling a young man, there's like 3 doors right there. And I'm telling him, do not go down these 2 doors, bro. There's a cliff. It's like this life, this game, the gang banging, to me, it's all a fucking rerun. I know it's brand new to a lot of these guys. It's all a rerun, bro. I know how the game goes. It's like a video game that you play that you know already where the traps are. And I'm trying to tell you, don't go down this trap door. You don't know what you're talking about. As soon as they open that thing, boom, they hit the clip, bro. I'm trying to tell you, take this door, bro. You're not going to regret it. Take the door of life, of working. You can still live like a gangster. You can still go to the club. You can still have fun. You can still have the ladies if you're single. You can still have all that. But what you'll have more than anything else, you'll have peace of mind. You'll have peace of mind that the feds ain't gonna come breaking down my door. I used to walk outside my house with a gun in my pocket. I was scared, bro. I was scared because I knew what I'd been doing. So I knew it's only a matter of time that I'm gonna get mine. So I'm walking around. Yeah, I'm strapped, but I'm walking around like in a paranoid game. And then I'm thinking, I wonder when the cops are gonna come. And sure enough, they came. They came. They busted down the house. They arrested moms and I. It was, and that's how you live as a dope dealer too. You live knowing that one day all this is gonna be gone. And you could have worked at McDonald's and been better off than what you got right now. But the thing is, we want, especially now with social media, we want that instant gratification. I just saw a postmaster, a post office, a lady, right? She was going around stealing the credit cards from people and getting the money. And she's on IG, bro, with stacks of money showing them like, what are you doing? I think she's looking at like 30 years. But that kind of stupid stuff, the internet makes people crazy. They want to be famous even if for just that 10 minutes for the thing. I got all this money. Yeah, but now you're going to go do 30 years. Homie, like, nah, listen, take your time, do it right, and life will be much better.
Any final thoughts?
I think final thoughts will be just, life is what you make of it, brother. That's all it comes down to. It. Life is what you make of it. Nothing worth having comes easy, homie. Nothing. So to me, when you're in a certain crossroads, just before you do anything rash and without thinking about, just take some time just to think about what you're about to do, homie. Take some time to really realize, is it really worth me going and killing this guy? And I'm gonna go do 30 years, I'm gonna go hang around with the same enemies that I'm trying to kill. Like, look at what's going on right now. Look in your hood and see where all your older homies are at. And I tell that to the youngsters, where the older homies at? They don't exist, bro. They're not out here anymore because this life is gonna eat you up, spit you out. And in 5 years, like I said, there's gonna be another generation of them coming in, going to jail, the same thing. This gang stuff is just a rerun. And unfortunately, we haven't figured out to get out of that game. Because that game is destructive, homie. So I do this kind of stuff to try to help people see a different side of that, and hopefully can give at least one young guy, one young man, one young girl the thought process like, damn, this fool's right, and maybe make the better decision in life.
Okay, guys, Nicholas Rosenberg here. We're gonna wrap it up. American Cholo in the house. Nicholas Rosenberg, Punching Back Podcast, Punching Back.
Bam. That's right.